Okay, we start our session with the session of Umul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okay, so today is the last day for our coaching session where I give you a lecture. Next time, starting tomorrow, is your turn to give the lecture. Okay, after this session end, I will discuss about that. So now let's straight go to this what we left last week. It's basically this thing. We want to look at this game Safiddin and Mizan, basically specifically from this configuration. You can see the green there is a Catalan. We already discussed the yellow configuration, which is the what we call sort of like reti, but reti, as we said before, that this pawn doesn't goes in the middle of the board. So reti is more positional, but this is like, we can say, sort of reti lah. And also we already discussed this what we call the red configuration. This is a semi-Slav configuration. And today we will go straight to this Catalan configuration. What the idea behind this Catalan? Okay, let's go to this Catalan itself. Okay, about Catalan. What is Catalan? Okay, so whenever this what we call the white play G3 like this signify what want to play the Catalan opening. Catalan is close opening. Catalan itself is name of a place in Spain. Okay, if we compare this Catalan with King Indian defense, if I may, the King Indian is like this. When you play like this, when you play like this, so this is King Indian. Okay, let me put this first. This and this, and this something like this, something like this, something like this. Not necessarily in the correct move order, but basically this is King Indian. So if you look here, this is sort of like Catalan, but from black perspective. If you see in in King Indian, normally black will play this what we call this E5, and then white either put this or maybe just go straight away like this. So in this position, even though we see that the black is quite cramped, okay, but King Indian defense. So this is King Indian defense. King Indian defense is one of the most popular defense around like before 2000 like that, adopted by Kasparov and Fischer and so on. So if you look here, even though white already have sort of what we call the central. So if you look here, the central present in the middle, and black configuration sort of like not cramp, cramp, and have this configuration. Still black play is we can say can goes to this attacking. I mean what black play is rich enough lah. What from this position, even though the position look cramped for black, but this is one of the most thorough opening from black perspective that has been analyzed. So if you look Catalan, okay, if you look Catalan, so this is King Indian defense. So this is Catalan. The difference here is that white also want to go here and also want to what we call to castle. Okay, if you look here, the difference between Catalan and King Indian is that now not only white have this what we call this configuration at this king side, so you have this what we call the Franketo of the bishop here, and then king will be sort of castle here. On top of that, white also have this central presence here. Okay, so on top, so compare with the King Indian defense, not only you have this configuration, the red configuration when the Franketo happen, also at the same time what have this central presence. So we can say Catalan is much more active lah, should be more active than King Indian, but yeah, it depends on the specific of the position anyway. So this is Catalan. Okay, so there are many ways for black and white to play here. White normally want to Franketo and castle, but black sometimes he play like this. Okay, bishop e7. Normally you can find this configuration, bishop go to the e7. Normally in most of the queen gambit decline variation, bishop goes here lah, and then to what we call to have the king castle and so on. So in this case, white continue with this Catalan bishop and 0 0 0 0, and this take on c4. Okay, so this is what we call a classical variation in Catalan where black instead of do nothing, he just straight away take on the c4. Okay, as I said in the previous class, even though this bishop look threatening, but because now black is already a pawn up, white must sort of like lose some time to take this pawn. So black, what we call idea is that yes, I give this bishop sort of like a breathing space along this diagonal, but at the same time I also make white to sort of like waste his time to sort of taking this pawn, because pawn is still a pawn. So that's the idea behind the black play, why black suddenly open up this diagonal, okay, because of the time. Okay, so that's one way to play. So this is what we call the main line of Catalan. When people talk about Catalan, this is what they normally mean lah. When this main line of Catalan. But also, black can also not taking on the c4, but rather reinforce this d5. They reinforce this thing d5. Okay, so white can just go there. So this is sort of, we can call it like triangle setup, the one that Mizan play against Safiddin. So this setup is straighten this what we call this pawn here, straighten this pawn on the middle. It sort of like give extra reinforcement to this pawn on d5. Also related to this approach is that black also, instead of going to this what we call the bishop going to the d6, black also can go to e7, and the play can go here. So this what we call close Catalan lah. More or less we can call it close Catalan, because the position is sort of like close for black perspective. We call open Catalan when black take on the c4. So this is the what we call, this is the setup that is adopted by Mizan in Safiddin game, but with the difference that Mizan bishop is already at this what we call this d6. Okay, now so that's another setup. So you have this taking on the c4, open Catalan, and also you have this, you reinforce on the center, the d5, this is close Catalan. And also another play also you can play, black also can play this by giving this intermediate check. Okay, and then white normally he oppose the bishop, and then bishop goes back to e7. Some might say that why you check here, why you waste the time here, because at the end of the day you want to go to e7 again. This reason, the reason for this bishop check here, the bishop check previously have a point, because in many variation of Catalan, from what perspective, this bishop normally is better placed here or wherever lah, but not here. So by giving the check here, by giving the check, intermediate check in the before what can do anything, it's sort of like not force. I mean the bishop oppose here, causing some what we call some misconfiguration in the white piece coordination lah, because the bishop don't want to go there lah. Of course, go knight and then you can just take. It's more like this is more like nimzo whatever lah. If you go this, the bishop have a problem there and so on. So the best is to what we call to sort of like oppose to block with the bishop. But this bishop now is quite what we call placed at very strange location. So that's the idea of the bishop check. So this is one also another way to play with black against Catalan. Okay, and also another way also is to play this Queen Indian system, Queen Indian configuration. Instead of taking, or instead of reinforcing with the what we call the c6, and instead of giving a check, black now they play like a Queen Indian style. Queen Indian is basically when you play with black, when you push here and then Faghetto your bishop on this what we call b7. So that is Queen Indian lah. So the play can be like this and this lah, more or less like you put on the b7, and then castle, and then bishop e7 followed by the castle on the king side. So this is Queen India style against Catalan. Okay, so that's mainly the 4 main reply against Catalan. Okay, what is the most famous one? The most famous one is basically taking this c4 on the c4. Okay, so this is the most famous one lah. Why this famous is because later we will see. Okay, let me start early again. So you have this, you have like g3, and then you have this thing. Normally the move order to go that open Catalan is like this. You go d4 and f3, this thing, and then you play e6, and then white play an f3, and then d5, and then g3 signify the Catalan, and then bishop e7, because normally black want to castle first before he take. Okay, of course now black can take straight away, but if black takes straight away, then you can just check and take it easily lah. So there are no really much time is wasted by white in order to get this pawn again. So that's why white refrain from taking on the c4, but instead go to what we call bishop e7 first, and then let the white Franketo his bishop and castle, and only then you take on c4, because now white don't have this what we call this going to a4 check, meaning that you don't have, white doesn't have this time, the time to straight away immediately take on the c4. Okay, so normally the main move is queen c2. The main move is queen c2 in order to take this what we call the c4 pawn. So white want to take this c4 pawn. But before we go to this main move, let's see what happened if white plan to go an e5, playing an e5. Because when you are black facing Catalan, the most difficult piece to handle is this bishop. How to deal with this bishop? Now this bishop sort of like raking through this diagonal. So if you play this thing, it's quite like it's solid, but your piece also doesn't have life lah. So how to deal with this what we call with this configuration when the knight go here? Because this configuration, even though you don't play Catalan, this can happen in many transpose from many opening lah. So how you basically play against here? So let me remove the color commentary first. Delete wicked color commentary. So how to deal with this? What black can do from this? Okay, so the main move is nc6. Okay, nc6. It look like okay, black offering voluntarily damage his pawn structure, because now okay, here white best move is taking with the bishop. Okay, you might ask why taking with the bishop, why not with the knight? Okay, why not with the knight? Okay, because taking with the knight here, you take back, even though you think that you already have sort of like advantage in time attacking this rook, the rook can just simply go back, go to the b8, and then now black is threatening to sort of like what we call sort of this exchange this bishop by playing this by playing this bishop go here. Even though it takes time, the rook need to go here and then the bishop go there. But remember, the most important thing in white, the most beloved piece from white in Catalan is this bishop. This bishop is the most beloved by white. So even though it takes time and black go here later, this bishop will be opposed, will be sort of like if white take that bishop, then there are no more Catalan bishop. So no more Catalan bishop, and also black also have this half open file lah. So even though the structure of the pawn is broken, is reckoned, but black also have easy play. He got this what we call half open pile, and then after he sort of like trade the bishop, then black doesn't have to worry about this Catalan bishop anymore, and so on. So that's why this take with the knight even though you seem getting the pawn and attacking the rook, it doesn't really do well lah. Okay, so for example like this, for example this thing, let's say white play e3. Now what we call, white can play instead of going straight away here. I mean, if let's say if black doesn't want to deal with this Catalan bishop anymore, he always can go to here, okay, and then take, and then okay lah, and then just normal lah, just normal. So so this rook also can go to the d7 and pin the what we call queen and so on. Yeah. So if we go straight, next here, take. Okay, so this thing cannot take. This cannot take because of the fork on this thing, because what I have fork here. So in this position, although Catalan white, in this position we can say that the position is sort of like equal. Even though now for white perspective there are no more Catalan bishop, but remember this weakness, white square weakness, the light square weakness, also cannot easily be exploited by black, because black also doesn't have this what we call the light square bishop. He only have this dark square bishop. So in order to exploit this what we call this this yellow weak square, black normally want to have this light square bishop himself. That's why in this case even though black can straight away oppose or trade the Catalan bishop, normally it's not advisable lah. Normally it can be played, but it's not advisable. The more better play is to play ND5. The reason for this is to block this bishop, so this bishop cannot go back here. And next, white will play queen d6 in order to sort of like not trap lah. I mean, because the bishop can go back, but at least the bishop need to go somewhere else, not from this diagonal. Because in Catalan, this diagonal from A8 to the H1 is one of the most dangerous diagonal lah. So that's why the recommended is knight d5 instead of straight away exchange the bishop. Okay, straight away exchange the bishop like this is okay, but the better move is going to d5 in order to block the bishop pass going back to the g2. Okay, so in this case, let's say white play like this, and then the queen go to d6, and then bishop need to go lah. Bishop need to go somewhere. So now not only queen here sort of like what we call not only this harass this bishop at a4 also sort of like make the queen cannot go here lah. Normally the queen they like to go to the a4, but when the bishop is there, then the queen cannot go there. And also this bishop also doesn't anymore control this important diagonal lah. This is important diagonal. So that's the idea behind white play, why the idea behind black play, why the black goes to nd5 just now. Okay, so in this case, and then after that, and then the bishop, then only then the bishop here, the black bishop now is the one that is controlling this important diagonal. So in this case, we can see that black already have some advantage lah compared to white, because this white bishop is quite offside, plus this what we call this square is quite weak, and there are no, the light bishop here is so far away from this king side to sort of like to protect this weak square, the weak light square there. So we can see here black already have some advantage. So that's the idea why you don't just straight away sort of like trade this bishop, but find some of the better way lah in order to use the bishop. Okay, so that's one thing. Let's go now. If let's say here, let's say instead of knight take here, instead of that, white want to play queen a4 in order to protect this bishop and to maintain this bishop still in this diagonal. So black will still play queen d6. Black will still play queen d6. Okay. So the reason the queen go here is because not to protect the bishop, and also he want to take the pawn lah. Okay. But here black have this small tactic here. The queen go, the knight go to what we call to b4. In order to sort of like threaten to take on this the bishop here. If let's say the bishop go back on this g2, and then black have this bishop a6. Not only this knight threaten this bishop, this knight also sort of like protect this bishop. So this knight protect this bishop, and this bishop is sort of like skewer. This we call skewer. This is not pin. Skewer the white queen against the rook lah. So they are like specific tactic. Every position have specific tactic. Okay. So that's the reason why this knight to this thing is recommended in this position. Okay. So that's why when you are facing with knight e5 like this, black play n6, the best is to take with the bishop, because this bishop anyway, if you don't do anything, like just now we see the bishop also doesn't really have life lah, because the knight will block the bishop later on. So by doing this, at least now when black take, knight take again, and knight sort of like not fork, but basically at least black will not have this opportunity of utilizing his bishop pair, because now black have this two bishop. Normally we don't want give our opponent two bishop because that is considered as one type of the advantage. So the knight do like this, go to c6. By attacking the queen, he get this bishop on e7 like that. So queen will go to e8 in order to prevent from being taken, and then take, and then queen a4. And one of the reason also why the knight take here is because to sort of like to remove this queen from controlling this square. So the queen must take that thing, and then this queen can go there and threaten to take this c4. So that is the reason lah. And then black need to do something. So black play e5, and then take queen c5. So the position here is quite equal lah. But if you count the pawn, white is 1 pawn ahead, I think, because white have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, while black have 5 only. But still the position is sort of like equal here, because even though white have 1 pawn advantage, black have this easy development of the rook and so on. So the play can go like this, and then go here, and then black here can continue harass this queen, and if let's say white doesn't want to play, he can just settle with the draw here lah. So that's one thing. Even though like black is less a pawn, then black have some initiative lah, because if you look here, the position here, all this thing is not yet developed, but black position, the piece for black is easily developed lah at this moment. Okay, so that's basically what what this thing about, how to deal if the knight goes to what we call to the e5 lah. So knight to e5, even though this knight opening the bishop range, it doesn't really really troublesome for the black. So keep this in mind, because normally, even though you are not playing against Catalan, normally if you are not knowing that technique to play this nc6, most of the time black will play this thing. Okay, if you don't know the theory, if you are playing like this, you are passive, you are you are what you call, you are keep being tortured for a long time. But if you play actively like this, then at least you can have this some share of play lah. Okay. So that's the idea behind this how to deal with the NE5. So that's why the most common for the white, not going to this thing but play slowly, just go to queen c2 lah, queen c2 in order to take the what we call, to take the c4. And for black, black normally play this thing, this little move a6 in order so that when to take like this, then black have this tempo. Okay, have tempo, and then the queen can go, need to go back, and then now the bishop somehow already on this diagonal. So now white doesn't, black doesn't have to worry if the knight goes somewhere lah, because it just take the bishop here on this g2. So that's the reason why black normally play on a6 like this little move in order to play b5 with the tempo. Okay, take with the tempo. Sometimes white prevent that by taking a4. So if you are now black, you cannot play this thing anymore, because you, what we call, white just can take, exploiting the pin, this and this. So what black want to use, because if black do nothing, white will just take on the c4 and keep pressuring this queen side here, keep pressuring on this area here. So here here if white play a4, okay, let me remove the color commentary first, remove color commentary. So what black can do is to play, okay, if let's say you are black now, what you can do now, because now this quite annoying lah, quite annoying in here, because you cannot sort of like expand this pawn. So when you cannot expand this pawn, you cannot move this bishop, and the knight also seems like quite strange here, and so on. So the way black play against this is that the main line is to play bishop d7 lah, bishop d7 in order to oppose the bishop from this point, okay, from this c6. Let's say white play like this and just go bishop c6, and we already see before that taking on the c6 here, doesn't really, what we call, really have any trouble. Black doesn't really have any trouble with that anyway. Okay, let's say taking, let's say you take and then you take. Okay, normally here white will not take here, because if you take on the c6, now even though you get this, what we call this, the pawn and so on, white already lose his his Catalan bishop that he loves so much, already not on the board, and here black can equalize by going to d5 like that straight away. So and without this Catalan bishop here, then this square is quite weak and white cannot really push in front of that, and we can say that the position is equal, even though black have this double pawn, the weak double pawn here and so on. Okay, so we can say black is consolidate here lah, black is okay, black can play. Okay, so that's the reason this taking on the c6, even though it's wreck the pawn position for black, is okay. In chess, it doesn't mean you as a black normally doesn't need to be, in chess it's okay to defend a little bit worse, worse situation rather than being tortured slowly. Okay, if you play like very, sorry, I have a call. It's okay lah, better lah, it's not important. Okay, so if you play like this, if you play like this thing c6, okay, to prevent this diagonal attack here, this, even though it's okay, but it make your it make the situation very passive lah. Okay, it's much better to play active like just now lah, play like this, and play like this. Much better to play active like this. Okay, so that's how you sort of like cater this what we call this A4 situation lah. A4 situation here. Okay, so now let's say that's why white just take on the C4, and then black take use this opportunity to open up this this B7 pawn, B7 square by attacking the queen with tempo, and the queen goes down, and then now the bishop can go to B7, and the main line is what we call bishop D2 and so on. Okay, it also can go to bishop F4, also can it's okay also, but black can just oppose the bishop, and I think the position is quite equal lah now, because the problem with black is normally is here. This is the main problem for black, how to oppose this bishop here. So this tempo gaining by what we call B5 is one way to sort of like oppose that bishop lah to ni lah. Okay, so from here, from bishop D2 here, there are a lot of branching lah. There are many ways, either white play bishop D2, white play bishop F4, okay, and so on lah. So if bishop D2, black can play bishop E4, and then queen C1, and then coming back to bishop B7. Okay, the reason why you attack the queen, and then queen go to C1, and then the black goes back to the B7. The reason why black move back to the B7 is because this shuttle maneuver going here back is because like it or not, if black stay here, white will later on gain the tempo by attacking the bishop there lah. So basically the bishop going here anyway, so it's okay lah, because he need to preserve himself lah. Because if this bishop is not there, then white bishop here will sort of like control the entire diagonal unopposed. So that's the idea why black also want to preserve his light square bishop here, so that he goes back to this B4. Okay, okay, so if bishop B4, then black can play ND5 and so on, and here black can take on the F4, queen at F4, so then this okay lah. This is no problem for both black and white, is okay, this equal. Okay, in chess opening, it doesn't you cannot think like this. You cannot think that, okay, what is the line that is the best? No, there are no line that is the best, no line that is the worst, because everything depend on the style of the player. You cannot assume when you study opening, you cannot assume like, okay, maybe this is the best move. No, they are not best move. This is one of the move that is available, depending on the player style lah. For example, some people, some player, for example, white player that like the bishop, so maybe he go back here. Okay, he doesn't want to part with his bishop. Okay, so he go back here, so still okay. It's not like it's bad move. It just some player doesn't care, so he just want to play here, and then even though the black take on the bishop, so now black have this double bishop. For white, he can argue that yes, you black have a double bishop, but I also have this center. I can push here, my thing is easier, I can move my rook here and so on. So it's not like this bishop, leaving the bishop there is the best. It just depends on your style. That's why in the opening study, it's hard to say that, okay, this is the best move. The best move may be best for certain player, but not best for the certain player. It's not like endgame. In endgame or in meta game or in tactic, it's different. There will be a best move. If you don't do this, you will lose advantage. If you don't attack, then you lose advantage. If you make one mistake, then you lost straight away. So that's endgame or middle game. In opening, it's more like style. If you like open style, then you play like this. If you like close style, you play like that. Okay, so for example, this style is open Catalan, right? If you see, there are also style like this, close Catalan. Some people prefer to play this instead of playing c4. We cannot say that this move is bad. This, by playing this, what we call c7, c6 is bad. It's just the nature of the player. Maybe that player doesn't like to play open tactical style and so on. So that's one thing to need to be understood lah from opening lah. If you study opening, keep your mind open lah. Don't let somebody say, okay, this line is the best, this line is not the best, because it's all about the preference. There are many things because there are many things more than the opening. There are middle game, there are end game yet. So opening is just one part. So making one mistake or two mistake in the opening normally is still okay compared to making some mistake in the middle game or end game. So that's we done with the Catalan. So we get the idea about the Catalan. So now let's look about this Mizan and Safiddin game. We already learned about Catalan system. We already learned about semi-Slav. We already learned about what? One more about Reti. So now let's look again to this Mizan, Safiddin Mizan game with the knowledge that we have, the semi-Slav, the Reti, and the Catalan. So we start here. Bishop b7 here. Okay. So the last move is Bishop b7. So we can see this configuration is sort of like not open Catalan. It's like more like slow and solid approach. So Mizan use slow and solid approach. So that's why I said, even though in the Catalan taking on c4 is the main line, it doesn't mean this is wrong. Playing this style is wrong. Putting the what we call the bishop here is wrong. It just maybe the black position a little bit passive lah in this position. Okay. So normally in this position, the aim for black is to push e5 and c5 lah to liberate his position. So now Safiddin play ne5. Okay, ne5. As you can see now, this is one of the problem of putting the bishop on d6. Because now you cannot take with this bishop knight, because you will get fork lah. The bishop and knight will be fork. So that's one of the disadvantage of putting the what we call the bishop on d6 instead of on this e7. So one of the disadvantage. Okay, so now in this position, even though we put null move, okay, the idea for black normally when you put the bishop here is to push this. Normally the push here. Okay, but even here in this position, when you have this bishop here, for example, this Reti bishop here controlling this square, it's quite difficult. Even though you can push. Let's say I put null move. Okay, and then let's say black goes to what we call to support this push even, and let's say I put another null move, meaning that I pass the move to black again. So now let's say now black push to the e5. If you look here, if take the problem with this is that here this configuration here, black will end up with this isolated pawn in the queen file lah. So you take there, and then take here. Even you take. Even though now, because now you can see, even though there are no more bishop here, there are no more dark square bishop on the b2, the position now is nearing the endgame. This is what we call the isolated queen pawn, or IQP. Normally isolated queen pawn is okay in the middle game, but here we can say it's nearing the end game. So now white can start thinking how to sort of like gang up against this pawn, because this pawn is a weakness. So maybe white can go here, white can move here, and then try to triple this queen go here, the rook go here, and then triple around here and move the knight and then take this pawn. So maybe that's one way lah. Because it's still in the what we call it's already nearly in game where the isolated queen pawn here is more like a weakness than the advantage here. Normally IQP, the isolated queen pawn can be a weakness and can be a strength depending on the what we call on the position itself. In this position is more like a weakness because yeah, there are less piece on the board, and it's easy for white to play lah here. And also this bishop also is sort of like this pawn is like a traitor for this bishop. If black have this dark square bishop instead of light square bishop, then it's okay because you can like sort of like complement this pawn lah. But now this bishop also hindered by this pawn itself. Okay, so that's why in this position, even though black can push on the e5, not necessarily good enough for black lah, because of this bishop controlling this square here. Okay, so now white push its knight on the e5. Okay. Okay, now and black play rook c8. Okay, and then a3. Okay, actually here white can straight away play this lah, open this straight away, because this is one of the main move for white also. Just open it, then you can get a better center lah. Okay, but white play a3, it's okay, and then black queen c7 and d3. This is quite problematic because white need to know that black aim to push this. One of the idea for black to liberate his position is play c5. Okay, when you play like this, when you play this and d3, it gives black chance to play c5 himself lah. Okay, the better way is just to take straight away and then play e4 before white can play c5, because when you do like this, somehow you can force this sort of like isolated pawn in the middle lah. Okay, so white expands straight away lah, because if let's say you take, then this knight sort of like attack this, you get time lah, you get time to attack this bishop. Of course black will try to preserve this bishop, so that's you get time. If let's say you for example, you can also play like this also to exploit the queen position on the c5. Okay, so that's why it's much better to take on this thing straight away. Okay, so but white want to preserve his piece, go back here, but this allow the c5, the equalizing. So this is what we call the equalizing move by black. If let's say black doesn't do this, then he will keep this bishop will keep shut for a long time. So that's why the c5 is a very critical move here lah. Okay, so if let's say what we call now, so so now white take on this c5, and then the problem is this black take with the knight. This allow white to wreck this queen side lah. The better way is just take with this c pawn lah. Okay, take the c pawn, and if let's say white take on the middle and then take back, then you have this what we call the hanging structure here. Still okay lah, it's not really weak lah. Compared to the isolated pawn, this is better than having only this pawn in the middle. Now you have the friend, you have together with the c pawn, so it's much better than isolated pawn lah. And also black also can have this like breathe lah, the rook can go here and so on. It's much easier here lah to play. So the position is level here. So that's why the better position, the better way is not to take by knight, but take by pawn lah, to preserve the structure on the king side. But Mizan take by knight, and this allow white take on this f6 and reckon this king side structure. Okay. Now for white to play, white also make mistake because here white play rook c1, giving this for free lah, because white can just take here, and then this pawn is free. This pawn is totally free lah. The better way for white here is just what we call just straight away open the center straight away, because now if let's say black take with the bishop, now taking with the bishop here giving black a very ugly pawn structure lah. You have this you have this double pawn, you have this isolated pawn, and so on. And this queen also in the c5, you have this open fight, always can go here lah. Later on white can always go here. So it's much better here, just take away straight away on the in the middle here, in order to sort of like, because here if you see the position of black pawn here, the structure of black pawn here, this is, we consider is still healthy, still healthy. But because of this pawn connecting this middle pawn and this f7 pawn. But if now white play like this, then you have this very ugly pawn structure, and easily black can gang up and threaten to take this pawn, and this weak pawn lah. Okay, so maybe the sample line, taking here. So for example, one of the sample line lah, because now how white can exploit this is taking here, taking on the knight, taking here. Now you might say that, okay, I give this pawn, isolated pawn, another friend here, but here white can play this e4 to break the symmetry again, to continue to break down the pawn structure, the black pawn structure. Okay, if let's say black go to d4 here, yes, this is pass pawn, but still is so far away from this d1, and it's very easy for white to sort of like to control, to prevent this pawn go further lah. And also by pushing here, black also give this the square for the outpost for the white knight. So and then here so white can check, and then king h8, and then go here in order to attack this thing, and then bishop e5, and then you have rook c1, and then followed by this thing, and so on. So we can see that white have this advantage here, because of, even though this is pass pawn, is will not go far away lah. Okay, so that's a one way lah. So that's one way for white can gain the initiative in this position. Normally the problem that I can see most of your game is that this tension. How to release this tension in the middle? Do I take, or do I wait the pawn? Do I wait for a while? So that need calculation lah. So in this case, taking straight away on here prove better lah. Even though black take with this, still the pawn structure is weak, is quite weak, ugly lah here. Plus this bishop also ugly lah in the back there on the b7, hitting his own pawn lah, But white play rook c1. Rook c1 allowing black to take on c3, and then you take back, and then now here black make mistake again. The best way here is just take it here lah, for free lah. This for free, just take it. Of course you can go here, you can go here and so on, and getting that, but nothing lah, because you still have double bishop here, bishop pair there. But that is much better. For example, let's say white play queen g4 check, black just simply hide, and then let's say you go there, and then you have this bishop b4 here, attacking this knight, and then the knight need to go somewhere, and then you can just sort of like protect that bishop again lah. So preventing this pawn from getting captured by the rook. So that's the thing. So just take for free. So that's free with the tempo. This is what we call free, and also with tempo because you attack that thing. Okay. It's not really free lah, because if let's say white goes here, then you get this, but still easy to deal lah. Okay, but white play d4. Okay, d4 is a problem because it gives this position for white knight. White knight. Okay. So but also this position, when you see this sort of like very nice square here for knight here, not necessarily you need to occupy straight away. Okay, because in the game Safiddin play knight to e4, which is quite a mistake lah, quite a mistake, because because this black can just take knight, and then in the game this is what happened. Black take the knight, and then white bishop take the bishop, and now you get this what we call opposite color bishop. Okay, opposite color bishop is good in in attacking, but not good in endgame lah. Drawish, that they have this draw tendency. Okay, in this case, even though you have this opposite color bishop and the position still what we call still in the middle game, should be like the opposite color favor the attacker. In this case, black have this one important move, f5. Okay, if you look here, the position here, the square here is all black. It's all black. The problem now, this bishop is on the light square, so it cannot exploit what we call this the weakness on this dark square. So even though you have this opposite color bishop, you cannot really use it to attack. So that's the problem. That's why in this position it's already, we can say, almost draw lah, because plus black can just take that and then go that, and then bishop e7, and yeah, it's already draw lah. Here it's more or less draw, because white cannot launch any effective attack lah. Okay, so this is not really good lah. Going to ne4 straight away allow black this opportunity to take on this and enter this opposite color bishop position, which is drawish in tendency. And even though it's still mid the game, black have this what we call this f4, causing this still drawish tendency lah. So the best way for this is to wait that, just check first, and then go back and then take that bishop, that thing, and then only then maybe you can here you need to preserve this first lah. Maybe you go b4 first like that, and then if let's say what we call black try to, because now this queen is attacking the pawn. If let's say black push this thing, you can see this bishop is sort of like die already, and still you have this square, this what we call the light square here is very weak lah. The light square here is very weak, so the queen can go to f5 and really dominate the position lah, the light square position. So it's already a winning advantage lah here. So that's why this the main mistake here. The main mistake for black in this game is this, and the main mistake for what we call, because this allow this lah, the one that I show you, check first and then and so on, the one that I show you just now, allow this thing lah. That's the mistake by black. So black should basically just take like that, and okay, but the main mistake for white is just straight away go to e4, allowing this opposite pair bishop on the board. Okay, and the rest, I think the rest is more like the rest is basically more like endgame, because here, okay, let's, even though now white trying to ramp up and attacking this pawn, okay, it's no use anymore, because even though white will get that, for example, let's say you take this, and then blah 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 blah. Even though now black get this pawn, still the position is still draw, because now how can white want to take this thing, because everything is on this dark square and the bishop is on this white bishop is on the light square. So it's almost, is we can say almost draw lah. Not almost draw, it's already draw lah here, because you cannot go anywhere lah. Even the white go push and just like that, just so like this, just move, because cannot, the white rook cannot do anything. Okay, so even though now the white is attacking this f pawn, just simply protect with this what we call, with this rook, and then cannot do anything lah. Yeah, just cannot do anything. So that's why it's draw lah. So there's opposite color bishop, this is tendency of drawing, tendency of opposite color bishop lah. So that's why the game is draw here. So now if you look here, the problem with the bishop, the bishop this thing. Let's see another game by Mizan also, Mizan and Safiddin also, the new one I think. Okay, so I will not go in detail here, I just go blah 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 blah. Just want to show something here. Okay, so here, if you look, Mizan is white here, Safiddin is black. So if you look, this bishop here have no life, have no life. It's already no life there. It's already sort of like imprisoned behind this pawn. Okay, it's very important here for white to sort of like activate his bishop. This bishop, especially this c1, before it's become so bad lah. So the way Mizan should play is to sort of like open the position as soon as possible before this her own position become so blocked, so like what we call, so cramped lah. So this is the way lah, normally this is the way to sort of like to break the position lah. You take and then to exchange and so on. And when there are less piece on the board, then it's easy for you to go for the draw position lah. Because in this case, we need to understand, in this case, this bishop is so quite good. We can say this still equal lah, still not equal, still equal lah. But Mizan play a3, a3. This position, when you play a3, it signify that what is the reason for this? For what reason you play a3? Is it want to prevent this thing, or is it want to prevent this thing, this and this thing? Is it, do you want to prevent this pawn moving? If that is the case, then you are just sort of like under black control lah, because black can do whatever he want, and you just sort of like react to the black too. You need to play active also, because if you play this a3 like this, and it seems like there are no plan for white. They are seemingly there are no plan to sort of like helping this bishop. How this bishop? Because the problem now, this king can castle, is okay. This bishop can move, can just go here, and the bishop can breathe lah. The only problem here, the only what we call main piece problem is this bishop on the c1. So how to deal with this bishop? So so Mizan play a3, which is this is not good, because seems like there are no plan. It's not like blunder. It's just when you play a3 here, it seems like there are no plan. What is the plan for white here? Okay, and then here black play g5. Okay, because you cannot take. And also this bishop cannot really do anything, and this position also you have this hook, and then you can just go there and so on. So that's okay. This move is not weakening, it's weakening, but remember this king here is quite safe in the middle, because the position is close. It's more or less close. When the position is close, then the king is quite safe in the middle or somewhere else, because the queen cannot go inside and check or whatever, do some problem, some tactic to the king. So playing g5 here is okay lah. It's okay, and then you castle, and then Safiddin straight to launch the attack, and d2 whatever. So e4. Okay, so this is good. This is good because this sort of like what we call try to do something for this bishop. So at least this bishop can breathe somewhere lah. Okay, so this move is important. This move e4. The Mizan play e4 is good. Okay, white play this thing. Okay, now Mizan play b4, which is not really good lah. Because this at least it give black the opportunity to play here. Because this become hook, something hook. So black can go and double triple on this file and then control this file. Okay, so it's unnecessarily giving hook for black. And black play this thing, f4, f5. Okay, now here this is blunder. This is blunder when Mizan play take on as far as blunder, thinking that now you have this what we call this file to check and so on, but the check is nothing lah here. It mean nothing actually. You just it's nothing. I mean it's not doing anything. Okay, the best way, I mean for here Mizan actually can draw like just e5 and then the position is totally closed. And then not much black can do here. Even though they are hook here, remember they are hook here. It's easy for black to cover, to sort of like to defend here. For example, if like here, just defend lah. Here it's much easier to defend lah because of one thing. Here also they have nothing much lah because black can always if take here. If black take here, just take here and then you can always go here and so on, meaning that neutralizing what we call neutralizing this rook on the h8 here. So that's why in order for white to draw, just push that and then the position just push like this and the position become close. It's much easier to defend here. Okay, because remember here the position is this is not bad for white. This is like equal lah because it's already close. But if you take here, the problem with this is that when you take, even though you can check, but you can just king can just what we call can just hide and then bishop b2. Now where Mizan play bishop b2, this bishop b2 I mean doesn't have any life. What to do here? Okay, so that's the problem with the bishop. Okay, it much better. I mean, but here even though here even queen want to control this file, is cannot do much lah because in order to check here lah, the idea is to check here. The black can just simply go here and then just put the rook here and so on, control back the file lah. Okay, so the position by taking that is already mistake lah. Okay, so check, go do that and then go here and then now whatever you got the file because now it's already because now not only black have this file, black also have this square for knight. If this position is closed, if they are like pawn here, then it's easy to neutralize this one file only. But now you have this also the problem, the weakness on this e4, so that's cause a problem lah. You have two weakness, you want to deal which one? Okay, so Mizan, you need to neutralize, but then now you have this queen reinforce again, and because the rook already go here, so you cannot reinforce back. So you go that and then this you got just give the chance for the black to penetrate, and then the rest is just history lah. Okay, so basically that is the scene, the problem with the bishop. Last session we talked about the Sarah have the problem with the bishop, but actually in all the game there will be a case where bishop is a problem. Okay, let's see one game. So if you have a problem bishop, let's say problem bishop like this, how to deal with that? Okay, let's say we go some game by not our league but by Alekhine. Okay, so let's see this game to see how to deal with the bad bishop. Alekhine versus Yates, whatever the thing, 1922. So first, I just want to show you how the game goes. Okay, so you see the game goes like this. So this is queen gambit decline. Okay, normal queen gambit. Okay, the reason why queen like this is because white doesn't want to play bishop here, because now you take this, you have this tempo. Black have tempo lah. So white try to sort of like not to move this bishop as early as he can, so that when black take, white will take by tempo lah. So that's why white play just what we call just play queen c2 and so on before moving his bishop. Just look first how the game goes. Okay, Alekhine is white, so you play like that, bishop d3, and then because now nothing can be done, so bishop need to go out anyway. So this is what I mean by black have a tempo. So now it's black move. Okay, Alekhine play Yates play N-D5, Alekhine play N-E4. So this is one of the what we call, this is a new idea at the time. So N-E4. So in this case, I don't want to talk about opening here. I want to talk about the bishop here, because previously we talked about bishop. So we see this bishop, on this what we call C8 here. So this is quite a dubious move. The F5 is a quite a dubious move here. Okay. Okay, let's say take. Okay. Okay. So in this position, it doesn't mean that black is bad. It's just easier to play as white. Okay, because by moving this F pawn, it's already make this pawn what we call backward. That's one thing. And also, if let's say black want to move his what we call his knight here, this knight is controlling this square. So if this knight is moving somewhere, so white knight will go to this e4 square. So it's not much about this bishop. This bishop, yes, is bad, but it's about the overall situation lah. So when you see a bad bishop in a position, normally it's more than that. It's more like everything also. Okay, let's see how the game goes. Take, and then go back here, and then b5. Okay, b5. Okay, look here. I show you first this game first, and I will show you later how it can be improved. Okay, white play b5. Okay, and then take, and then 0 a5, and then now go that. So you get this what called square on c5. You take. It's basically now it's already lost actually. It's already what we call it. We can say that by taking with the queen, and then rook take. It's like black is follow white plan lah, because white want to sort of like control this file, the only file, and black make things easier. Okay, black make things easier by just take that, and then just this, and just control the file and win later on. I will not show the rest lah. So now, if you see this game, you see this bishop is quite what we call. Okay, now let me follow a little bit. Bishop a6 and e5, and e5. You get this square, and then rook eb like 8 and so on, and then you can just go. And then you just get this 7 rank and so on. If you look this game, how black can improve his game. Okay, how black can improve this game from this position. Okay, it's easy to see the game. Okay, the game goes like this. It's easy to see, wow, as if like white play very easily, and black do or black is very passive and so on. The bishop is quite bad here. But now, let's say you see this game, and how you want to improve black play. That's much more important. That's much more important to learn, because the game is done. The game, yes, black is doing bad here by just helping white to gain this, what we call, to gain this file. But now the question is, if you see this game, how can somehow, okay, something here, how can you sort of like from here lah, here, okay, how can black can improve his position? Yes, this is quite bad, but it's not really bad, it's not really totally bad. It's just now the problem that we see is the bishop. Okay, so one way to improve further for this game is that black can try this b6 by playing b6. In this game, black play b5. Okay, there are very subtle different here, here and here. This is in the game, this is the better way lah, more interesting try lah, because by playing this b6 black develop his queen side without creating too many weakness. What I mean, if let's say in the game you see that black play b5, when you play b5 like this, you are giving this square. Okay, the knight can go here, can go here. That's one thing. So that's keep in mind also when you play b5 in semi-Slav and so on, you basically giving the square, some square here also. So by playing b6 you sort of like protecting this square from be taken by the knight, by white knight. So that's one thing. And this also more solid and create less weakness compared to by playing b5 lah. So this is more better lah. Let's say now white castle and then bishop play like this. Bishop to b7. Okay, so now here white can just go straight away. Normally white in the queen gambit or whatever, he or she want to go e5 to break the center and so on. Let's say now white take on d5, white take on the knight. Let's see, you take here, you don't take, you take with the c, because here you just give free pawn lah, just give free pawn for free, and the bishop also still weak there lah, still have nothing to do lah. So you take by c5. You might say, oh, now this bishop also have no life going here, so what is the purpose I'm putting my bishop on the b7 at the first place? Okay, so here so here white can go here, just in order to put the rook on here. Okay, this is just a sample line. Okay, so queen d6, okay, to prevent the rook from penetrating. Okay, this, even though you can see this bishop is quite sort of like what we call quite have no life, but it's tough to crack black position. It's solid for black. Sometimes you may have the position that is advantageous, but you cannot penetrate, you cannot sort of like cannot break the defense, so that doesn't make you winning also. Okay, so this is a kind of position that is cramped for black, but it's defendable. It's difficult to crack. It's difficult to crack. It's solid lah. Okay, and then you see, let's say white want to double on the c5 by rook c3, and then black can play a5, and then let's say double. Let's say we put double, and then what black can do is just, because you cannot allow this doubling happen along the file uncontested, so black must contest that. So let's say take. Okay, let's say goes in front, let's say take, and then goes like that, and then take. Okay, go here like this. Okay, in this position, if you look this position, yes, that bishop is very bad lah. We can say very bad lah. But the question here now, does white have a chance to win this position? Because now does white can win this endgame? Because first, white doesn't have pawn majority. Okay, first white doesn't have pawn majority, because if you have 3/2, then we call it white have pawn majority lah. You can create a pass pawn, but here you have only what we call only have 2/2, and also black can put his pawn in such a way this pawn put here, and this pawn can go what we call can put here on that. This can put here. This can also put here. I mean, you put here, you put here. So this bishop, being a light square bishop, is complement this what we call this pawn. The pawn control here, the bishop control the light square. So the king here cannot really penetrate if he want to. Okay, and the same thing also what can do black can do on the queen king side. Okay, to put in such of configuration that black bishop and the pawn complement each other. So it's difficult for white to win this position because of the black can put a stubborn defense. But if you are white in this, if let's say you are white, you just continue to play lah. Don't just say, oh, this is draw. No, you just play because if let's say your opponent make mistake, then yeah, you can exploit that. But if at high level, at top level, this position, even though white have some advantage, it's difficult to convert this advantage to the winning advantage because of the position itself. Okay, but if you are white in this position, just play along, because who knows that black make mistake. Normally you win because your opponent make the last mistake lah. Okay, so that's one way. So even though this position looks promising for white, it's difficult to break. Okay, so let's see now. So that's the idea why b6 here, and let's say we do that. So that if white takes straight away lah. Okay, but if normally they expand the center by e4. So how to deal with this? Just take and then just control the what we call this square, and then rook fe8, go there. Okay, so this position, if you look, of course it's better for white. You can see this backward pawn, this bishop also almost do nothing, but they are nothing tangible yet. They are nothing tangible yet. Black might come to his own track by pushing this and so on. So this position, the verdict is that even though black is doing better, but it's not like black is totally lost. It's defensible, and probably if white not careful, black can just push this and unleash this bishop and so on. So sometimes the position, even though you have the advantage, be careful also, because sometimes advantage need to be converted into winning advantage. If you have the advantage but you unable to convert it to win the game, then it's no use lah. Okay, so that's the idea lah. So that is one thing. That's one the benefit of playing b6 over b5. Okay, let's say the game continue like this. Okay, take, and then this from here, from this position. In the game, black play a5. Black play a5 in the game. Now the question, how can you improve further this? Okay, when in the game black play a5, and then it's allow this knight go there, and then just in the game lah, in the game, like we see in the previous line. So how black can improve that? How black can improve that thing? Okay, so one way is to play, because the problem is this bishop. So one way is to play bishop a6. This is worth a try lah, because black is trying to catching up with the development by to starting coordinate his own what we call his own piece lah, especially the bishop. Okay, let's say now white plays here queen c6 to take that bishop. So black can go here, and then queen c5. And this basically forcing the exchange, because if black go here, white can go at a3, signifying the strange position of this bishop on a6. Okay, so this force sort of like forcing the exchange. So let's say now black play b4. Okay, in order to make this to make this bishop alive again. So now you see the bishop now starting to show his own what you call his own ni lah, fire lah, because now this bishop is well alive now. So now rook go away, and then and c4, okay, and c4 to block this queen from coming back. So now that's why this take, okay, and b3, and then knight a3. So you can see now the difference with the game. So in the game, this pawn is pushing forward early on, but in this sample line, you put the bishop first in order to let the piece alive first before you move the pawn. Okay, so the knight go there, and then let's say the knight goes to e5 to control to use this weak square on the middle of the board, and this bishop can go here. Okay, so now you can see you see the bishop from here, go here, and go here. The reason for this is that white want to push this pawn something lah. So at least now we can see there are some life for the bishop. If the bishop here still at here, then it's very slow to go here lah, because you need to push this first and so on. So now the bishop already go to b5, and then ndf3. Let's say white want to reinforce the knight on the e5, and then now black play ea4, and then if white play rook c5 in order to double on this c5, white can go to b8 lah, and follow by, you can see the bishop now is quite agile. Go here, go here, go here. Before, the bishop is only here, but now you can see the bishop movement here, here, and then here. It's quite agile. So the bishop now is not necessarily bad. Okay, so now so if you look here, the white horse, the white knight here, we call this superfluous piece, meaning that what we call both his knight aim at the e5 square. This knight, this one knight, and also this knight, both knight aiming for the e5 square. So it's like redundant. It's like redundant for white also. So this is what we call superfluous piece lah. Since both knight aim at the e5 at the same time lah. Okay, but for black, you see this bishop have do something there and so on. Okay, so now let's say now white continue to control the c5. So knight go to b5 in order to block this, in order to go here, in order to block that what we call the square. And then you go c8, yeah, okay, and then rook a7, and then go to c6 in order to, because if not, then the what I call the knight block and difficult lah. Okay, so that's why white goes to c6 in order to go into the what we call the camp, the black camp, and then black goes to c4, because now you can see black has his own play lah. Previously in the game, you can see black is so passive, but now black also have his own chance lah. Okay, now white can play g3 in order to prevent any back rank mat, because remember this thing, if it's open, then you can get mat at the back rank. So white play g3 in order to prevent that, and then now you go to c3, and then let's say and g5, and then a3, and then now you can see black has his own ni lah. Even though position is still passive, but black also have his own chance counterplay lah. You can take this, okay, and then you get this pass pawn and so on. So the position now is not like the game. Okay, the position now, both side have his own chance lah, his own chance in this game lah. So that's why it's all start by putting this bishop on the a6 to make it alive lah. If you look in the game, compare that into the game like this, a5, and then you have this thing, and then it just like there are no chance. You see, there are nothing here. White black doesn't have chance on his own lah. Okay, so you can see here. So nothing. So even though you have this advanced pawn, but you can do nothing lah. So that's the difference between when you play passively or you play active like this. You try to make sense of your what we call of your bishop and so on. So that's about the bishop. That's about the bishop. How to make life of your bishop. Okay. So now, so that's basically cover the D pawn, some of the D pawn. We cover the game from Mizan. We cover also how to deal with the some bishop problem, because normally in D4 opening like this, in D4 opening, most of the time this bishop quite problematic lah. Okay, this bishop quite problematic. So knowing how to deal, how to improve this bishop can benefit you lah. So that's one thing. Okay, so we talk about the D pawn opening. So what about the E pawn? E pawn opening. Let's say we go to what we call, we go to your here. Let me put myself here. Okay, let's say about your opening. Okay, this league. We saw the D4 opening. How about the E4 opening? Okay. Let's see game by what's E4. Maybe here, Mizan, maybe. So you can see E4. Okay, when you play E4, as I said before here, when you play E4, normally the most common response that you will get is C5, the Sicilian. So even if your game, let's say if I control A here, and then I try control F and finding the game, finding the game that have the same position like this, copy board. Not here, this board lain. Let me close this first. No, let me close this first. Let me close the other thing first. No. Okay, let me what is Mizan? Okay, let me open the Mizan first, and then let's say I control A, control F to see how many game in the league that you are facing the Sicilian. Let's say position, I copy the board, and then okay. So now it try to filter how many game that you are playing in current league that involve Sicilian. So it's around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20 plus lah. 20 plus game that you saw that start with the E4, E5. So for example, Nuril and Hafiz, you can see that. Let me go here. You can see that. So okay. So Nuril, you have this what we call this sort of like Nuril normally play this dragon setup. Dragon setup. And then okay, and then we go to Aisyah, Nuril also. Okay, so you see Aisyah also, Nuril play this dragon setup. You have this what we call G6 here. So G6 here, so that's what we call dragon setup. See Huzaifi, Mizan. Okay, so Mizan play a little bit different. You have this this setup, this E6. Normally when you play Sicilian, okay, it's not normally lah. Most of the time when you play against Sicilian, you will see like this. Yeah, D6 instead of D6. Okay, E6 instead of E6, you normally find D6. Okay, but it doesn't mean this is bad. No, they are also this called Paulsen system. This also valid system. But just to say that you have this system lah. See Huzaifi play what? I think Huzaifi play, yeah, dragon setup also, more or less dragon setup. Aisyah, Faiz play like Mizan, more or less like Mizan, but Faiz normally go to this Tarash system, I think. Yeah, like Mizan lah, like Mizan. Nuril play dragon, yeah, more or less dragon. Huzaifi play dragon also, more or less like dragon. Faiz play like Mizan. You play E6. Faiz play same like Mizan. Kroto Ain play like Mizan also. Faiz here play like Mizan also. Huzaifi play dragon. You see that G6. Wait for it. Yeah, the G6 there. Okay, Huzaifi play same G6. You see. Now he play like this. This more like Chevy. So this is Mizan play this e6 and so on. So we can see from your game, you can see most of you, if facing Sicilian, if you are black, you are either using the dragon setup or the Paulsen setup, the one that Mizan. This is Paulsen's, Paulsen. When I say Paulsen, this Paulsen Sicilian. Paulsen chess. So this is Pakcik Paulsen. Okay, Paulsen. So the position Paulsen is this lah, this position. You have this e6 instead of d6. Okay, e6 instead of d6. So that is Paulsen. So from your game, I can saw that most of you play Paulsen, either Paulsen or dragon setup. So let us look a little bit about this thing. Let's see the idea from dragon first. From the dragon first. So let's go to here. Okay, let's look a little bit about dragon. The dragon setup. What is dragon setup? Normally, dragon is like this. You play e4, c5, and this thing. Blah 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 blah. You have this dragon setup. You put, you try to fanketo this bishop to this g6, to this g7. Okay, so this is the start of dragon setup. The fanketo here is a defining motif in dragon, and play will develop to great extent on whether white castle on the queen side or the king side. So the nature of the game depend on that. Okay, so normally in dragon main line, white will play bishop e3. Normally in dragon, both side, white or black, want to preserve this bishop. In dragon, both side want to preserve the bishop. Here, if let's say white want to play like this is like a typical trap. Not trap, it's just like small thing lah. If you try to want to chop this bishop, white have this thing lah, winning lah, because if you take this, then you can just take this for free lah, because this bishop cannot take this queen because of the pin. Okay, so that's why black will not play this lah, even though this knight is protected by this bishop, but because of this, then it's no use lah. So that's why white can play just straight away bishop e3 without afraid, without get bothered by this and g4. But now when bishop to g7, now white need to start to think about this thing, because now let's say now I give you a small move like this. Now this is valid, okay, because if check, then the king can go here, can hide there, and then this still planning to capture on the e3 lah. Okay, because remember in dragon, both side want to preserve this bishop. This bishop is important for both side. So that's why after bishop g7, then white need to play e3 and the castle, queen d2. Okay, so this white setup. So white setup, normally white plan to to just castle ni and just attack from this from this side lah, from this side. Okay, so go there, and the queen d2, and then knight to c6. The idea for this normally to protect this, okay, to protect this square. So the main idea now for why this knight to go to c6 is that now black is threatened to push this pawns forward lah, so that white cannot reply by pushing the pawn to the e5, because this knight control this this square lah. So that's why the knight go there. This knight basically cover the e5 square lah. So that's the idea. So that's why in order to prevent this push, white play bishop c5. Okay, of course white can also play this thing, but this allow this thing. It's still okay, still black is not doing anything wrong. Still okay, white not doing anything wrong. It's just now the nature of the position will change lah. It's not like a mainline dragon lah. It's still mainline, but it's a little bit different than when you play bishop c4. Okay, when you play bishop c4 with the idea of protecting, preventing this pawn from being moved to this d5, so black normally play bishop d7 and then castle, and then rook c8 rook c8 in order to give this x-ray to this bishop, and the bishop goes back to the b3, and then normally black will play an e5, and here there are many ways lah to play. Normally nowadays white play queen, this the mysterious queen, what we call queen king to b1, because this normally have a lot of use lah, the king b1 here. One of the use is that if let's say now queen goes to a5, okay, or white have this nd5 lah, nd5 to take on this thing, because now if what's this thing, because now this taking on the d2 is not with check. Okay, if let's say the king still here, let's say the king still here, the king still there, let's say I put null move for white, insert null move, and then the queen go here. Here it doesn't work lah, because you have check here, you have check there, you have this capture on the d2 with the check. Okay, so that's one of the reason, also one of the reason why king b1 lah. And another reason is just to get away from this line of the rook. Okay, so this current main line is queen b1, and then you can play rook e8 like this in order to prevent this prevent this pawn like that, and also to not only to prevent that, also now if let's say white try to sort of like exchange the bishop, then the bishop can go back here lah without worrying about the rook here. So that's one of the reason why the rook goes to this somewhere there lah. So rook e8, and then now what we call white can start the attack by h4 and so on lah, h4 h5 and make a sacrifice and so on. Okay, you might want to play g4, okay, because for example this h4 typically black will sort of like stop the h4 push, h4 h5 h6 push by playing h5. Okay, this is common lah, this is common what we call common method to sort of like slow down white attack on the king side lah, on the king side. So you might want to play g4 in order to prevent this h4 what we call h4 this stopping move lah, because now white planning to push this and push straight over like h4 h5 and so on. But the problem with this g4, is that you need to also be aware that black also have its own counterplay. So black have this b5, okay, black has this d5 b5, and let's say you white just play like what he intended, then white have this b4. Okay, so now this need to move, and then let's say move go down, because if you move this you just take if you go back down, and then you have this a5. So you have this sort of like race toward the who will get first to the king. Okay, normally in dragon or in Sicilian dragon, whoever get first to the king normally win lah. So that's why the Sicilian is sharp opening. Whoever get first to the king then normally win lah. So that's the idea in dragon. So let go before. So that's why white go to h4 first, and then h5, and then you got g4. So normally now instead of you have this sacrifice lah, the pawn sacrifice, and try to go on. The position is equal now, still equal. So everything depend on how creative each one play lah. But to show that this is the idea for the dragon lah, Okay, So here, so to show you, okay, so this the one that I show you is King B1, right? Previously this is popular. Previously H4 is popular. Straight away H4 is popular. So the reason why this white always play this thing H4, H5, H6 is because black has this G6. G6 pawn here is ready-made hook. So white can sort of like move forward and try to what we call to get to this what we call to this pawn. So it's easy because you have already a hook there, something to latch on. Normally when you play Najdorf or Safiddin or other variation, not dragon, then this pawn normally not here, this pawn normally here. So when the pawn all one what we call on 7th rank, it takes more time for this pawn to reach. Okay, so that's why this dragon also give this hook for white lah. But the advantage of dragon is that now you have this bishop lah, because in other Sicilian, this bishop, the dark square bishop, normally goes passively here lah, passively stay around e7 and so on. So that's one advantage and disadvantage of the dragon. Okay, so you have this normally previously they play h4, h4, h5, h5, and then bishop g5, and so on lah. And so on. If let's say you try to here, you try to sort of like to exchange the bishop, okay, white have this nc4, bishop c4, rook c4, and then you take that, you take this thing. Even though now, okay, even though now there are no more dragon bishop, white also doesn't have his dark square bishop, so that also not a problem. That also like equalizing factor lah, because white cannot really attack that. Even though white try to sacrifice the pawn like this, if take like this, even though white try to sacrifice like this, now by taking the bishop on this, what we call, by taking the bishop on g7, not only white doesn't have a dark square bishop himself, it also allow this rook connected to have this connect to this last rank lah. So now you have this defense like that, and then you have this thing, you take, if you take, then you just take, and then it's more like drawish lah here. It's drawish because the rook already have this what we call defensive resource on this h8. So taking the bishop on this what we call on this g7 not only make white lose his own dark square bishop, but also help the king goes to second rank for black perspective, and allowing the defense resource to h8. Okay, so that's the thing. So that's why normally white, even though he can go to h3, normally he just preserve his bishop just like that lah, and then the game goes like this and so on. So all this someone will get method lah here. So this goes on and on. So this all about the theory lah. So at least you know that this is the idea behind the dragon. The idea behind the dragon. The bishop here, if you're not careful, will be unleashed and get this sort of like firepower there. Okay. Okay. So you get this. Okay, so you can see the rook here normally go there lah in normal dragon, but sometime when you have this, okay, let's go back to refresh back. Sometime when you have this thing, you get like this, instead of rook to c6, instead of this, okay, sometime what we call black can also play rook b8. Okay, the idea is to push this straight away. To push this away. This is known as a Chinese dragon. The name is Chinese dragon. The main idea to push b5 as soon as possible lah. Okay. Okay. So normally, the way white play is to prevent the tempo gaining by black by just retreat first before black attack, and then this prevent tempo gain lah. Okay. So now black can chop, get this bishop pair and so on. So here white can play bishop s6. Okay, here is okay to exchange because what we call because white doesn't really have anything, doesn't start any attack pawn storm on the king side yet, so it's still okay lah to what we call to offer the exchange. Okay, let's say now bishop take and queen take. Okay, so when you have this in this position, you can see both sides doesn't have this dark square bishop. This push of e5 deserve the attention lah. Okay, deserve attention because now you can see this knight need to go away, and then you have this black. You can see black have this sort of like the advantage in time, even though now white take free pawn, you have this sort of like time. So that's one of the advantage of Chinese dragon lah. You get this time forward lah. So let's say knight go down, and then knight b3 take, and then queen e7 and rook d2, and then you have this a5. So you can see that in this variation, you can see black try to gain time as much as possible, even though in doing so he's already what we call sacrifice some pawn there. Okay, so the idea for Chinese dragon is that you get this b4 b5 push, very fast rolling lah. So if let's say white do nothing, then this can be very dangerous lah, very dangerous. If white doesn't do like this and so on, just do nothing like this, if white just play normal like this, then this will come first lah. This will come first. Okay, so that's why white need to sort of like exchange as soon as possible this dragon bishop before ni lah. So that's the idea for this. Okay, so that's the idea for dragon. Okay, in fact here also, if you look here, as I said, this main line also, another main line is that just castle, and now black need to go, black can push to d5, because now this what we call this square is already protected. This square is already protected. Okay, and then this another theory lah, and so on. Yeah, this another theory, so on and whatever lah. So I don't have time to go there, but at least if you're interested, you can go to see, because this basically nowadays this is more common lah. I mean nowadays this is more popular than this lah. There are reason for that. This is more popular. The castle straight away is more popular than preventing the bishop, the pawn move to the d5. Okay, but we don't have time to deal with that. Okay, so now let's see a little bit your game that have this dragon structure. So let's see a game Aisyah and Huzaifi. Okay, let's see a little bit game that have dragon structure. So this is Aisyah Huzaifi. So this, so you see, okay, so now, okay, blah blah blah, bishop g3. Okay, so now, so this is dragon structure. We learned about dragon just now. Okay, now Aisyah play bishop e3. Okay, here as we said in dragon, you know what we call in dragon system, if let's say black or white can chop this bishop, this dark square bishop, and this dark square bishop, then whoever can chop normally have some advantage lah. Okay, in this game Huzaifi play bishop g7, but it much better to play this straight away. Okay, because here there are no check, so the trick that we learned before doesn't work lah. So in order to chop this bishop, okay, if the bishop move, then if the bishop move somewhere here, then at least black already have time advantage lah. He already push his bishop on g7 and trying to attack this and so on. Okay, so understanding the dragon, the idea behind dragon, we know that this bishop, the dark square bishop for either side, is important piece lah. So the better way is just go this straight away. But Huzaifi play bishop g7, it's okay. So queen d7, and then actually the better way is just to play this lah, to prevent this. Okay, because after this, after queen d7, now Huzaifi play this thing. Okay, this okay lah, because now the bishop cannot go retreat back. Okay, so in this case, Aisyah play h3. Okay, Aisyah play h3, which is a mistake lah. Just castle, just what we call castle queen side, and overprotect this, because remember, when the knight goes somewhere, this bishop is already unleashed. A lot of tactic happen because of this bishop. Okay, in dragon, a lot of tactic happen because of this bishop. So when you play h3 like this, and then take this, you should Aisyah should take with this lah, at least. But Aisyah make mistake by queen take this thing, so giving this for free lah. That knight on the what we call on the d4 for free. You might say that this giving the knight for free, oh, why Aisyah make a blunder like this? But believe me, sometimes when you play, especially in opening, when you are so afraid, not so afraid, I mean that sometimes maybe Aisyah saw, oh, Huzaifi have a higher rating and so on. This sort of like this psychology problem can cause this blunder can happen. Maybe Aisyah already know that, oh, this is better, but he play like maybe she play like this in order not to damage his pawn structure, her pawn structure. But then he forgot that this is free. So this for you, I mean for Aisyah, maybe this is good game for you to ponder why you make this mistake. But for others also, please be reminded that even though it seems like this is like silly mistake, it's like giving a blunder for free, but it doesn't mean that you will not. Doesn't mean that this happen only for Aisyah and so on. It can happen to you also. For example, let me show you exactly the same, almost same position that I reached against one I play somewhere. I play against FM here. So I play against FM Hafiz, this from Indonesia. So here, because I know this is title player, so I got this like over respect lah, meaning that you are becoming so afraid sometimes when you play in the tournament, and then you see that your opponent is like having a title, you are nothing, and then you playing against this title player. Somehow you are feeling like not nervous, meaning that you are have this so much respect that you are forgetting how to play. You are like blundering just like that. So exactly the same like Aisyah did, almost similar lah. The difference is that now I castle lah. The difference I castle. Exactly the same thing. So I do like this. Instead of h3, I do like this. I take like this. Still okay. I mean, this still not lose because I can just take with this pawn. F take the E pawn. But during the game, I don't know. Here, I remember during the game, here, what we call, from here lah. Before I play bishop E2, I already like, okay, it's okay, this knight can take here, I can take back with my queen. So I give a lot of thought that here, but I forgot that when I take this with the queen, this blunder lah, you get this, okay. Of course I can take with this, I take with that lah, and you take with this, and then when I saw back when the what we call the board is already okay, I saw back that I lost a exchange because now he got 2 rook and the bishop, I got 2 minor piece and the rook, and then suddenly this is where things what we call struck me that this is a mistake. It's quite strange because during this, when I play like this, when my opponent play like this, I still think that I'm okay. But when things is done, when everything, the dust is settled, when I count back, it's just like, oh, I am down an exchange. Okay, down an exchange meaning that your opponent have rook, you have like minor piece, either bishop or the what we call the knight. So sometimes this psychological problem, this psychological what I call it during the tournament is happen. It's happened. You think that you calculate good enough, means that you get this two minor piece for the rook, but but in reality you are down an exchange. So that's something that it's not happen to it's happened to everyone lah. So be careful that. So when you are playing in the tournament, sometimes you are facing this higher rated player. Please, you might don't play like just like that. You need to have don't what I can say that don't have this too much respect. I mean, don't over respect. Just play your game. I mean, you are so afraid. I remember this time I am so afraid. I don't know why I'm afraid, that just I don't play my game lah. I just afraid. So that's the thing. Thing can happen when you play. So this blunder, this thing exactly, this Aisyah one, exactly the same lah. Almost exactly the same. The difference is that I already castle and Aisyah not castle. So that's different. So it can happen to anybody lah. And same with the Nuril also. If you see Nuril, not same with the Nuril, but let's do Nuril game. Nuril also have this dragon setup. Okay, dragon setup. Nuril play dragon setup. Huzaifi also what we call the Sicilian player. So we see here. We just go straight away. Blah 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 blah. Just want to show you here. Okay. So bishop s6. Okay, this is common. As I said before, this is common in dragon. In order, if let's say you don't want this dragon bishop to bother you, it's common for white to go to s6 to trick this bishop. But here, okay, black played this and Huzaifi take and black take. In this position, even though black doesn't have this dragon bishop, the position is equal, because as I said, white also doesn't have this dark square bishop in order to attack this weakness. This still weakness here, weakness at dark square. White also doesn't have this dark square bishop to sort of like to attack white king lah. So let's see this game a little bit. Just go here, go here, go here. Okay, but the problem, most of you, I saw that it's not really about the dragon bishop or not. It's more about this. It's more about what to do here when they are like, you are giving attention when the position, there are some tension in the middle game. For example, here you have this pawn. Do you take or do you take or not? Do you take or do, because there are three ways to do. Either you take, either you do nothing, or either you push. Normally they are these three things lah. Okay. So but this is quite what we call quite problematic. Of course, I understand that Nuril might think that, okay, his position is quite cramped. I want to liberate my position by pushing this to d4, so that if let's say white take, then my position is become open and easy to play. But Nuril forget that white is not obliged to take. White can push. Okay, so this is a problem lah. And then make mistake again, and then Nuril play this d4, which is a totally mistake, because forgot that this is taking with the check. Check always take priority. Check always take priority over others thing. So even though you are sort of like black, Nuril try to sort of like harass this white queen, but remember, check always take priority, and you down now. White is already down a piece for nothing. So Huzaifi goes and win lah. So always remember this intermezzo, this thing, intermezzo thing, whatever. Okay, it's already near 11. Actually, I want to show this, but it's okay, not enough lah. Actually, I want to show also the Paulsen, but it's okay, just later on lah. I don't know when, but I want to show this person because we are talking about the dragon. We are talking about the dragon. Although I prepare also for the person to see how Mizan, what the mistake, I mean the typical pattern the Mizan play. Actually, there are a lot of mistake in the opening lah for Mizan. But we don't have time for that. I want to discuss about person also, the idea behind that. But yeah, it's already 11. I need to stick on time. So let me, where is the me? Let me open this thing. Okay, let me open. So I hope today we already learn a little bit. We already learn about the game, the Mizan, the D4 game, the Catalan. We learn about the Catalan. We learn about how to deal with the bishop. We learn also about what we learn. We learn also about this. What we learn today. We learn also about the dragon. You see the dragon. We learn about the dragon. See here, I want to talk about person, but cannot. not enough time. I also want I want to talk about this Mio Mizan, Aisyah Mizan game, having this person set up, and also this Khalid intermezzo, and then some of the preparation. But it's okay, time is not with me. 2 hours, even though non-stop, I'm talking non-stop, but 2 hours, even though I have only what, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, only can cover 7 only. It's not, I mean, even that during dragon I don't go detail. In fact, I plan to go detail and so on, and talking about this like all this some of the game in this Bobby Fischer piece and so on and whatever, but time is not with me, so it's okay. So yeah, so I can just until now I can only cover until dragon lah. So person, unfortunately I cannot cover. This is the last day for the lecture. What's more, so after this is your presentation. So before we talk about the presentation, let us finish this session first. And don't go away because I need to discuss a little bit about your presentation just for a while. Okay, so that's it for today. We end our session, the last session on lecture. My lecture by reciting Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As.